Hi there, it is Judy Graybill, relationship expert, certified step-family coach. Healing hearts one relationship at a time. Today's February 11th, 2020, and this is part of my Valentine series. And this is just going to be a short video because I don't really have much time today. But I wanted to do a video on self-love part 2. So I have a video on self-love that I have in my videos. I'll put the link to it in the description below. Consider that the part 1, and today is the part 2. So you don't really need the part 2 in order to get value out of the part 1. It's just I'm trying to distinguish the point of the two. So self-love is the foundation for a healthy relationship. And by healthy, I also mean happy, thriving. I mean emotionally fulfilling. I mean deeply satisfying. I mean basically the best love of your life. And in order to have that, you absolutely, absolutely, absolutely need self-love. That is the foundation that absolutely everything else is founded on. Because if you do not have self-love, then you're not going to want the best love of your life. You're not going to deem yourself worthy enough to have it. You're not going to love yourself enough to make choices that will get you closer to that relationship. And that is what this is about. So the first video was more or less talking about why self-love is the foundation and why it's important, and just establishing that as a concept. Today's video is more about what does that look like? What does it actually mean to have that self-love? What does it mean to make those healthier choices? Like, what do you mean, Judy, when you say, if I loved myself, I would make healthier choices? Well, I'm going to tell you. And I'm hopefully going to be able to do this in 10 minutes. We'll see. Okay, so the choices that I'm referring to is really about how you're willing to be treated, how you let people treat you. And by people, in this scenario, I mean your romantic relationships, but this also will translate to your other interpersonal relationships, whether it's your coworkers, your boss, your siblings, your friends, any social circles you're in. What you're willing to put up with for love, for the sake of love, and for the sake of being in a relationship will be a little bit different than what you're willing to put up with for to get paid, on the job. I mean, because I won't go into the because, okay, you can figure that out for yourself. It's different. But ultimately, there's a part of it that's the same, like that saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. So, so here it goes. So, now I mentioned in my step-family epilogue, my step-family story epilogue video, I mentioned that the reason I had left my step-family experience, my dysfunctional step-family experience, was an act of self-love. And by that I meant that in that particular scenario for me, my emotional well-being was at stake. I have often said that I only had a shred of sanity left when I left, which is I still consider accurate, even though it's been so long since that happened. So sometimes that's what self-love looks like. There's other it doesn't have to be a toxic scenario. So even, I said dysfunctional a minute ago, and now I'm saying toxic. So the relationship that I had with my significant other was dysfunctional. The environment that he and I was in was toxic. And I'm talking about the other players. I won't go into details, but just a word on dysfunctional relationships. Dysfunctional relationships in themselves can typically be fixed. I say typically because here are the conditions. Both you and your partner, if you're in a dysfunctional relationship, have to really want to make that relationship work. You have to be in the relationship for the right reason, i.e. genuine love, heartfelt love for each other. And you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that is a commitment to yourself, which includes everything I'm talking about today, self-love, but it's also a lot of other things that are, the things that are wrong in the relationship. So if it's dysfunctional, then it's probably some mental health issues going on, either between you or your partner. And otherwise, it's just general problems, like if you're having step-family dynamics, for example. Step-family dynamics can look very dysfunctional because, in essence, they're not functioning well as a family. So it looks dysfunctional in that respect. It is dysfunctional. It's not a chronic dysfunctional situation. Step-family dynamics, when there's no mental health issues, is easily fixed. But to get back to today's topic, if you did not have self-love, you wouldn't be wanting to fix those things. So that would be a choice that you would make based on the fact of that self-love that you have for yourself. Because it's linked, it's correlated. There's a high direct correlation between self-love and self-worth. So leaving, in some cases, is an act of self-love. But what about not leaving? It's not always about leaving. Sometimes it is about, is your partner calling you names like all the freaking time? Lazy, stupid, ugly, or just generally discounting your opinion on a regular basis, not wanting to hear what you have to say. So that kind of stuff, if you're putting up with, that's very condescending to you. It is, that is either distorted love or just no love at all. I call that distorted love. And so, but even though I'm talking about what your partner is ostensibly saying or doing to you or at you or near you because of you, I'm talking to you about what you're willing to put up with. So you're choosing to stay in this relationship where somebody is treating you that way. So if you truly love yourself, then there's another reason why you're putting up with that, and you should, for your own personal benefit and emotional well-being, want to consciously figure out for yourself why you're wanting to stay. So, but an act of self-love would be speaking up for yourself, defending yourself. Yeah, you know what? I do know what I'm talking about. And if you're arguing all the time about that, maybe it's not worth arguing about it, but you just know personally that you do know what you're talking about, that you are an intelligent person, that you do have worth, and that you have talents and gifts and things that are special about you, even if your partner can't see it. So another way the self-love or lack thereof might rear its ugly head, that you might be missing or not paying attention to. A lot of us tend to, in relationships, ignore things or rationalize out of them and tell ourselves and lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that it's this or it's that, and we kind of make sense out of it in a really weird way. Our brains do that to save us some pain. It's a human thing. So I'm just going to bring up some other things that we tend to ignore sometimes. And the chronic cheater is one of them. Now, I have not personally had this problem in my relationships, but I know other women who have, and I don't understand why they continue to believe their husband's lies that their husband is going to stop cheating. Well, I can't figure it out. It's not exactly the same for every single one of those women, but it does come down to self-love in some way, shape, or form. Because if you truly loved yourself and felt yourself worthy for that kind of love, the best love of your life, you would love yourself enough to want somebody who is so 100% committed to you that they don't want to cheat, that everything you have to offer is enough for them. Now, we can also, one of the rationalizations is their own issues. That's true. I mean, there could be a mental health issue going on with your significant other or husband, and which is the reason he is cheating. So yeah, you can rationalize that makes it okay, or at least understandable. But here's the thing. It's like, don't you want something better for yourself? You can be understanding and compassionate towards a real issue that your husband or significant other has, and still be angry about how that makes you feel. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself. I mean, and if you really don't care, then there's obviously other reasons why you're in that relationship. And, you know, if you're consciously aware of what those other reasons are, you're consciously aware that they're cheating, and you're really consciously aware of that you don't care, and you still consciously 100% are connected to your self-love, then I'm not talking to you. Although, I mean, because that is possible. But in that chronic cheater scenario that I'm talking about, I'm specifically talking about a committed monogamous relationship. It's not talking about specifically like an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship. Now, in those relationships, and technically in every single relationship, there are agreements that you make. Like, you and your partner should actually be in agreement on what is cheating and what is not. And that is actually also a common scenario where you're not on the same page. Like, so some people think that cyber sex, for example, is not really cheating, and other people think that it is. You know, so if you're not on the same page with your partner, then chronically, like, you know, you've hashed out this issue like over and over and over again, you can't come to an agreement. For you, an act of self-love then would be, maybe it is moving on from that relationship, because you have to ask yourself what you really, really, really want in a relationship, because you know that you deserve better. You know that you deserve somebody who is able to be 100% present for you, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every way possible. So the act of self-love is making those choices that get you closer to you having those experiences. So the chronic lying is another thing, being condescending, all those things on how you are being treated, and when are you speaking up for yourself? How are you asserting yourself? How are you defending yourself? How are you saying no more? And it's not just about saying it. I've verbally defended myself. I've said it, so I don't need to do it. No, it's like, for some people, some relationships, the words are not enough. Some people will never change based off of your words. Like, for example, if you're saying something over and over and over and over again, and your partner is saying they understand, well, you need to act. Yeah, they understand what you're saying, but what they also understand is that you're going to continue to put up with it, because you always have. If you always have put up with it in the past, there's no reason to believe that anything is going to change now. You've complained about it in the past. You still put up with it in the past. So therefore, their conclusion is that even though you're complaining about it now, you're still going to put up with it now. The only way to really change it is to actually act on not putting up with it. How are you going to show him or her that you're not going to put up with it? Maybe it is leaving. And I don't want to come across like I'm encouraging a bunch of people to leave. What I'm encouraging is real love, authentic love, and being in the love that you deserve. So I want people to get that from their current relationship. And I will say this over and over again: if your current partner wants to overcome those challenges also and work with you, then that can happen. But they need to be at a state of receptivity, and they need to be at a place where that's what they want as well. And if they're not, then you need to act. And here's another tip. Sometimes after you act, after you leave, then sometimes that can push people to change. And that can bring out a whole nother video just on that. So here's just a few. I think I left you a lot of food for thought in this one video, so I won't go any further. But just I want to leave you with some questions to ask yourself to help you work through this again. Do you feel honored by your partner in your current relationship? Do you feel respected? Does your partner listen to you when you're sad, when you have something on your mind that is bothering you, and you need an ear to talk it out? Does your partner listen to you? Does he or she want to listen to you? Does he or she want to help you? Does he or she want to comfort you, make you feel better? Does your honey, is your honey happy when you're pursuing interests outside the relationship? Is he congratulatory and wants to celebrate you when you have a personal success? Is he encouraging you when you have a bad day, when you have a fight with your girlfriend, when you have a disagreement with somebody at work, or you're just having a general day, things are not going right, you screwed up, your partner, your business partner screwed up or whatever? Is your partner there to lift you back up? And so those are just a few things to think about. And I also want to say that I don't want to paint the picture that every partner is perfect, and that because we also have to understand different personality types. So how they lift you up and help you and listen and all those things are going to vary by person based off of individual personality styles. So it might not be the perfect scenario, but I'm referring to, do they have the intention of that? Do you get the impression that they want that? for you, or, you know, the intention is there for them to want those things, to celebrate with you, to comfort you and help you in those things. So if you're answering no to most of those questions that I suggested you ask yourself, then that's when you really need to think deeper about your situation. And I mean, naturally, I want to offer my help to you. I mean, you can reach out to me personally. You can send me an email to judy@stepfamilycoach.com. You can write in the comment section. And for everybody else who this is just food for thought that's helping you in some way, shape, or form, and you got value out of it, please hit the like button. And if you want to hear more content like this, please hit the subscribe button, and so you can get notified. And feel free to share the video with someone you think can use this information. All right, thank you. That's it for today.